Hello again, Internet.
Welcome to my speed paint. Lovelies.
My name is Dandy, if you don't know me, and if you do, then you're probably here for my last video, so thanks for coming back. That's epic of you. Anyway, today I present to you a speed paint. I've never done one of these on long-form content type platforms, so bear with me. I hope this is entertaining. I'm gonna just talk about the speed paint and tell you a little bit about the character. Yeah. So when I'm doing like my line art, I like to keep it sort of sketchy. I do an under sketch, obviously, just to get like the basic forms and shapes down, and then I just go in and start adding little details. I really like how the mouth here came out, and I really like how it goes from here, if I'm being honest. I know it looks a little bit blotchy right now. I do just use the basic brushes that come with Photoshop. I got Photoshop from my school, give it to all the students, which is really wonderful. I'm having a great time learning how to use the software, learning how to animate, learning how to draw on this tablet that I have. I'm just having a lot of fun doing what I enjoy doing and learning how to do it better. It's a lot of fun. This character that I'm drawing is one of my shapeshifters. He's probably pretty old, but this isn't necessarily like anything that's canon, it's just a drawing of him. He is an immortal shapeshifter from my universe. I like to dive into the more existential ideas when it comes to things like that. So he does not enjoy his immortality necessarily. He never even knew that he was going to be immortal until after he had stopped aging and outlived insane odds that should have killed him. He's a really cool character. He's one of my favorites. I like to draw him a lot, for sure. And as I'm doing the line art, I just kind of pick out where darker values would be. I kind of changed topic there. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. I do struggle a lot with facial hair. And he does have facial hair since he's a human. I like to give all of my characters, even though I do base them off of like mythical creatures. Obviously, he's based off of like a dragon or a wyvern, whichever. Like, side note, I think it's really funny the argument between species of mythical creatures. I personally think that depending on the universe, you could label a wyvern a dragon. I have the joke made several times in my comic that he is a dragon, even though if you want to go by the standards of D&D, he would technically be a wyvern, but he's not in that universe, so suck it. Another thing that I like to do, as you can see that I'm doing it under his chin, I like to cross hatch and create a lot of texture in areas and then erase out bits. It's really fun and it makes it really interesting, realistic. I've been trying to stylize more while keeping the idea of mass and weight to to my drawings. Like, I don't want to lean too far into the realm of like storybook vibes with this, or even like comic book vibes, but I like adding in swirls that are like unnecessary or unnatural, or little lines that outline the shadows where they wouldn't necessarily be. I really enjoy just adding those extra textural details to the line art because it makes the final product look much more rich and textured. I don't know why I started to struggle so much on his anatomy. I wanted his neck to like swirl around and be really bendy, but then I kind of moved down and started doing like his chest muscles and his arms, his wings technically. I moved down and I lost where I was going for some reason. You can see like the neck kind of bends and then disappears behind his mouth. And doesn't re-emerge. And before I realized that I had done that, I start drawing the belly scales. And I drew belly scales that I really, really liked. They're not there yet, but I do start drawing the belly scales before I realize the mistake that I've made. And I can't bring myself to erase them, so instead I changed his neck in the long run. And now I'm drawing the belly scales. So yeah, you can see I have not connected the neck to the chest yet, so I shouldn't be drawing the belly scales yet, but here I go, drawing the belly scales as if his neck ends just under there, but it doesn't. So yeah, that's where I messed up, and you'll see in a minute that I realize, and I'm kind of grateful that I didn't do a whole bunch of swirls in that blank spot because that's where I erase. And I did only have to minimally change it to get it to look nice, and it does look coherent by the time I'm done, so I'm happy with that. I really, really love drawing wings. I like giving them odd shapes and textures, and the only thing that I really struggle with them is drawing like the entire wing at an angle like I'm doing here. Once you get like into the idea of flapping your wings up and down while they're at this angle, like front straight on, it's actually incredibly difficult to get them to look nice because you're basically just drawing giant hands with parachutes between them, and it messes with my brain for some reason. I don't know why. My throat kind of hurts from talking. I don't know how commentary channels do this.
Okay, baby bitch boy.
Side rant. I watch a lot of commentary channels, and honestly, that and other art channels have been the reason that I wanted to start this one, and I'm having a lot of fun editing so far. It's given me something else to do with my time, other than just creating my art and no one seeing it. So, if anyone's listening to this, thank you for viewing my work. Yeah, I know Cosmo's here. Hi, Cosmo.
What's up, buddy?
I do like to mark out like my light source, my main one at least, like where I want the most amount of light to be coming from, and I kind of did like in the background sketch, I added a little line where I wanted it to be probably just like the sun through the clouds, because my vision was just him frantically flying through the clouds as he screams and lights fire in his throat. And he has a type of magic that is commonly occurring.
Stupid minuscule or dump incoming.
It's the combination of hellfire, which they call blue fire, can be conjured, assimilated, or spit, which basically just means that it comes off of or out of the user's body. And then conjuring is just that it can be made poofed out of thin air, basically. For assimilation, it means that they can grab any fire that's around them and it will turn blue and be under their control. But they are also shapeshifters. So they have their own forms that they shapeshift into, and it's all dependent on their genetics, their human appearance, their magic output, which is basically just their strength. So if you are like super strong, your form will probably be pretty big, and Ritchie is huge. I did take a little bit of inspiration from House of the Dragon for some of his design.
More nerd shit.
Mostly his lankiness. I used Caraxes because he's always been lanky, but I didn't have a reference for how to draw him like in very many poses or to look like a natural occurring creature until I saw Caraxes, and I love him for that. So he is slightly based off of Caraxes, but only a little. And he is huge. So he's probably about the same size as, if not bigger than, Caraxes. And the person that is the main like antagonist of the world, because he ends the world and sets the entire comic into motion, is a shapeshifter with the exact same powers, except he is so powerful that not only is he the strongest person, like, period, and another immortal, but his shapeshifted form straight out the gate, he makes him look like an ant, basically. He makes him look teeny tiny. Oh, look at me, doing a little silly, messing things up, erasing what I just put down because it was on the subtract.
Goofy Beach.
And then here I go doing it again, and then I figure it out, but then yeah. Yep. I love his fluffy hair. He has pretty tight curls, and like his natural hair, and his preferred hairstyle is locks, so he keeps it in the dragon form. Rose got massive locks the size of ropes. I really like the pose. I like how the pose came out. I like his tail in the background. I think I could have done a bit better with the hair on his tail, but my arm has been hurting me recently, so doing all those itty-bitty little swirls when I was just going to hide this part mostly behind clouds just seemed a little bit redundant, and like I was hurting myself for no reason. But here you can see one of the places where I walked away from the computer and came back because there's a lot more done than there was earlier. There's red on the wings and stuff, and I did start on his face, and I started adding lighting to his hair from the like main light source, and then also I did add light for his throat because he will be spitting fire, sort of. It'll be mostly smoke, but he will be emitting the fire. I really like how his claws came out. I'm adding a bit of shine to them. I really enjoy doing gradients and adding just a little bit of value here and there. as I go on my drawings. I treat it like I'm using watercolor or layering colored pencils, you know? Like it just gives it a more varied type of surface, and I think that that makes the texture stand out more, especially when I do cross hatching over top of the solid colors and gradients that I've already done with like a softer brush. Um, I like to use a smaller brush and add little darker or lighter values. When I do like smoky backgrounds or undefined backgrounds, I really like to play around with the brushes and the blending modes a lot, no matter what software I'm using. But I did play around a lot with the brushes here, and I did, I think, 3 layers for the smoke. And initially I was just going to try to make it look like genuine, real smoke. But at some point I do start adding little swirls that I think end up making it look really, really cool. And I just kind of try to make them look like they're moving around him a bit. I think here is where I start adding the swirls because I can just see them forming around him already, because I'm trying to like avoid him a little bit because I want parts of him to be clearer than others. And here I start adding my little swirlies for the clouds swirling around him. And I really, really like how this comes out. This is only the first layer, so I do add a couple more layers over top, defining the swirls and adding a few more, and defining the light coming through the clouds, defining his curls and his hair and his smaller details, things like that. There was another spot where I left and came back and forgot to record my progress, so I did add some little light eraser spots in places, and I did start on the blue flame in his throat, but I do erase this later because I realized I was on the wrong layer. I'm not on the wrong layer right now, but I do end up on the wrong layer later, and it messes me up a little bit, but it's fine. I really, really like how I started out here with the shine on the teeth. I like to do really bright white highlights towards the end of my drawings. I think it helps them stand out, and I don't do it everywhere. I just do it in like select spots and as like outlines, but only if I want the area I'm defining to be very clear. Otherwise I'll just use it as highlights in the area and keep it like very minimal on the outside, like I'm doing on the back of his hair, on the back of his neck. And then I just do like little highlights throughout. some little highlights on his tail just to give it a bit more texture. I wanted it to look like it was like being really brightly shined on from behind, but it was also behind a cloud from our view, so it just provides a bit of backlighting to the silhouette of his tail, and I think it really nicely blends in with the swirls around it, and I think it looks really cool. I started doing a bit of like cross hatching for the fire coming out of his mouth. I think I reworked this once or twice. Doing fire and light sources that I haven't done before, or like in a program in particular, or with a specific brush, or in a specific style, such as this one. I like to play around with the brushes. Usually I don't draw fire like this, but I couldn't get my normal methods to work in Photoshop, so I tried something new. And I really like how it worked out. I think it looks really cool with like the smoke and just enough fire within it to make it glow a little bit and stand out from the rest of the gray and the red. I think it looks really cool. Again, I add some random swirls to the smoke and give it texture and stuff like that. Obviously you can't see it as well when you zoom out, but I know it's there. I also outlined his wings a bit better. I think the finished product looks really cool.
Shut up. You're making a fool of yourself.
If you liked it,
You imbecile.
give me a like, maybe?
Beggar.
Or a subscribe, possibly. I miss you, boo. That's stupid, I'm not gonna leave that. Bye, internet. Bye.